Hello listeners and viewers, welcome to Kaduna State Ministry of Education Radio and TV e-learning program designed for our SS3 and other students staying at home due to the coronavirus pandemic. The present administration under the able leadership of His Excellency, Malam Nasir Ahmed El-Rufai, is positioned as always to ensure that under his leadership, our students are not left behind in all areas of human endeavors, especially education. Kaduna State is the center of learning. Therefore, we want to ensure that our students excel in their forthcoming examinations and beyond. Students and other learners at home are given this opportunity in order to continue learning, as education is a continuous process. Different subjects will be taught in this program to assist students to perform excellently in the forthcoming Senior School Certificate examination being conducted by NECO and WAEC as soon as schools reopen. Teachers making presentations will always provide their names and phone numbers during each presentation, and they can be contacted for questions, further explanations, and/or clarifications. The following numbers and contacts can also be reached for expression of any concern or observation: 090-865-00545 or 080-383-62072. Our website is www.education.kdsg.gov.ng. Our email education@kdsg.gov.ng or education.kdsg@gmail.com. Our YouTube channel, Ministry of Education, Kaduna State. Our Twitter handle @Kaduna_MOE. Or our Facebook page, Ministry of Education, Kaduna State. Stay safe, stay at home, and learn well. Thank you, happy listening, and happy viewing.
Hello learners, you are welcome to yet another economics lesson. My name is Obi Ifeanyi, and we are going to treat this very important topic today, public finance. Public finance is so important. It has to do with the financial activities of the government. So it's very important in economics because without money, nothing can be done. Government cannot operate in a vacuum without money. So we are going to today look at what is public finance and its impact in government, or how government uses this public finance and its relevance to government. Today we are going to look at the definition of public finance, the meaning of fiscal policy, objectives and functions of public finance, and sources of government revenue. You know, it's a very wide topic, so we have to cut them into sizes and take them one after the other. So this is what we have for today. We'll start with the definition of public finance. What is public finance? We say that public finance is the branch of economics that deals with financial activities of the government concerning revenue, expenditure, and debt operations of the government as it affects the economy. So when you look into the definition, you see that we are talking about financial operations of the government as it concerns revenue and expenditure. Revenue is all about how government gets money, while expenditure is all about how government spends money and its effect on the economy. Raising of money and spending of money has effect on the government, depending on how wise the government is to operate this public finance. Revenue is very, very important to a government, and the way that government spends that money is equally very, very important. Today we are going to be concentrating on the revenue as we look at fiscal policy. What is fiscal policy? Most times it comes in the exam. fiscal policy, especially in objective. I've seen it many times in JAMB, I've seen it many times in WAEC, but students, I don't know whether you do guesswork in it. I want you to remember that once you hear fiscal policy, be it known to you that it's talking about raising of money through taxation. So let's define fiscal policy. Fiscal policy refers to the government plan of raising revenue through tax and other means, and doing what? And deciding the pattern of expenditure. Deciding this pattern of expenditure, meaning that government will get this money. It's not only getting this money, it is very important again for government to know how to spend this money. How to spend this money to the benefit of the public or the citizens in order to attain the government objectives. It also it's embodied in every budget of every nation, fiscal policies. Remember, this year's budget, when it was presented to the National Assembly, people started shouting before it was passed into law. Why? Because of the fiscal policy. There was increase in VAT from 5% to 7%. People started complaining. That is fiscal policy. Raising of revenue through taxation. So it is very, very important. And the way government manages it is very, very important. It is embedded in every budget of every nation, and that is what shows the way that the budget will follow. Because for you to spend, you must have to make the money that you spend. Money do not come from heaven. I want to do this. How do I do that? Where do I get money to do it? That is what budget is all about. Let us look at the objectives of public finance. What are the objectives of public finance? What do government want to achieve with public finance? Number one, price stabilization. What is price stabilization? We are talking about maintaining the stability in prices of goods and services, thereby preventing constant fluctuation, inflation, and deflation. And it's a destabilizing effect on the economy. So when we are using public finance in order to do what? To counter inflation and deflation, what do you mean? What is that inflation? Remember that inflation is the continuous rise in the prices of goods and services. When prices are rising every day, go today, buy a cup of gari, 50 naira. The next day it is 60 naira. The next week is 110 naira. That is inflation. Then when we are talking about deflation, deflation is the continuous fall in the prices of goods and services. And when you allow the price of goods and services to fall beyond some level, then it means that the producers will be in trouble because they must be forced to sell their goods below the cost price in order to maintain one or two costs, which is very detrimental to the business, thereby leading them to wind up their businesses or close their businesses. Number two, equitable distribution of wealth. Income and wealth are distributed equitably among individuals and various sectors of the economy. Incomes are distributed according to various sectors of the economy. Students, I wonder whether you still remember what we mean by sectors of the economy. You just read it because you read the sectors of the economy. When we are talking about sectors of the economy, we have various sectors of the economy. We have education sector, which involves everything that has to do with education, primary, secondary, university, and so on. All of them are in education sector. You have financial sector, which involves banks, insurance companies, and so on. These are financial sector. You have industrial sector, has to do with industries, and so on, and so on, and so forth. You have communication, and so on, and so forth. So these are sectors, various sectors of the economy, which government apportions money in order to maintain those sectors. Number three, satisfaction of needs, meaning that this refers to the satisfaction of collective needs. When we are talking about satisfaction of collective needs are something like roads, hospitals, water supply, because government cannot build road and expect this part not to move on the road. No, you have to move on the road. The road is for everybody. You open up a general hospital and you say, no, you don't go to the hospital unless you are this or that. No, it is one of those things that we call that it's for general need. It's for all of us. Number four, allocation of resources. We say that it performs the function of allocating resources among private and public sectors. We have private sectors, we have public sectors. It is through public finance that this allocation is made for these various sectors. That's why during budget, people listen very well to know what the the trend of the state will be like. That is, how much is apportioned to this sector, how much is apportioned to that sector, in order for you to prepare your mind how your business is going to move like, or how you expect to fare well in your jobs. Number 5, provision of full employment. The provision of full employment opportunity to the citizen is another aim of public finance. Provision of full employment. Government earmarks money to provide employment. How can government provide employment? Government can provide employment by opening up certain areas, maybe communication sector. Remember, before this era, people used to post letters. You post letter from here to America, it stays 1 week, 2 weeks, sometimes 3 weeks, sometimes some of them get lost on the way. Today, people do more of talking than writing. Since the era of handsets or internet, people now, you call your brother now and here from America, he will call you, you will receive. You call your brother from Nigeria, he will receive. And there are many avenues. People are repairing handsets, people are selling recharge cards, printing recharge cards. This is opening up of the economy and employment opportunities. Number 6, maintenance of favorable balance of payments. How do you maintain favorable balance of payment? Say tariffs and other fiscal policies are used in maintaining favorable balance of payment. How can you use tariffs to maintain favorable balance of payment? What is favorable balance of payment? You have heard it in international trade. Favorable balance of payment. Balance of payment, that difference is the difference between your import and your exports. Your receipts and expenditure, or receipts and payment. Receipts are money that are paid to you from what you have exported in international trade. While payments in international trade refers to the money you pay out to others. So we are talking about receipts and payment. How do you use tariff to engage or ascertain a favorable balance of payment? You use tariffs because if you don't want people to import or reduce the volume of import, what the government will do is to do what? To increase the tariff on imported commodities. For example, you are importing car from Japan to Nigeria. Government may say that if you import that car, the car is sold for, say, $10,000. If you import that car from Japan at $10,000, then you pay Nigeria 80% of $10,000. Sometimes they say you pay the value of the car back to Nigeria. That is to discourage you from importation. In that way, people of the country will now importation will reduce. Then if you want to encourage receipt, that is, you want to encourage getting of more money in your country, that is, what you have to do is to encourage export. How do you encourage export? Then you have to, if you are agro area or agro producing economy, it means that you have to do what? You have to do more in agriculture, provision of machines and all whatnot in order to boost your agricultural base. You have to provide fertilizer. You have to increase your manpower to make sure that you provide enough for export. You do more of export. That is when you receive more money or receive more foreign exchange, and you do less of import in order to get a favorable balance of payment. Now, we have to go to sources of government revenue. Sources of government revenue. Sources of government revenue means where government gets money. All this that we say, government money, government money, government money, government money. Everybody likes government money. Government do this, government does that. Everything boils down on money. How do government get this money? So we are going to look at the sources of government revenue. Number 1, taxes. I repeat, taxes. What are taxes? A tax is a compulsory payment made by every eligible citizen towards the expenditure of the state. It is levied by the government or its agent. It is not levied as a penalty for an offense. It is a constitutional duty that when you attain to so age, you have to pay tax. In that tax, we have direct and indirect taxes. Direct taxes are paid directly to the government, while indirect taxes are paid indirectly. Example of direct taxes are pay as you earn, that is pay as you earn, which is removed from your salary. Before you receive the salary, it has been removed, or it will be removed before they hand you over your expendable income. Another one is company tax or capital gain tax. All these are types of direct taxes. You go to indirect tax, you have examples of indirect tax as import duties, export duties, you have royalties. I do hope that you still remember what we mean by import duties and export duties and royalties. When we talk about import duties are monies that you pay for bringing in goods from another country or other countries into your own country. For example, if you buy a car in Japan and bring it to Nigeria, you have to, as it enters Nigeria, you have to pay import duty. For bringing that product from Japan to Nigeria, that is import duty. Export duty are paid by producers that are in your country that are selling their goods to other countries. As you take your goods out of the shores of Nigeria, you pay what is called export duty. Example, those of them in agro sector that produce beans, that produce rice, millet, and so on and so forth for export. At the point of export, they have to pay what is called export duty. They have to pay government that duty for doing what? For selling these goods outside the country. There is another one that is not mentioned here, which is excise. Excise is a duty paid on goods that are produced and sold in the country. If you are producing your product in Nigeria and you are selling it in Nigeria, you did not bring it from outside and you are not selling it outside Nigeria, that is what you pay. Excise, E-X-C-I-S-E, excise duty. It is paid on goods that are produced and sold in the country. Number 2, loans. Loans. These are from internal and external sources. I believe you know what is called loans. Loans, the money you borrow. Some of you call it bash. It's not only private individuals that collect loans. Government equally collects loans. In government circle, we say that it could either be internally or externally. When we are talking about internal loans are those monies that government collects from within or inside its country. Like in Nigeria now, government can borrow from wealthy individuals, they can borrow from financial institutions, maybe from banks, insurance companies, and so on and so forth. But they are located in Nigeria. That is internal sources. Borrowing from your country, inside your country, we call it internal sources. When we are talking about borrowing externally, or as you see here, external borrowing, internal, external, internal, inside, external, outside. When government is borrowing from outside, government can borrow from friendly government. Maybe you are friendly with Ghana, you go to Ghana, problem, they will give you some loan. Or you can borrow from an international financial organization like IMF or World Bank. You can even borrow from international financial organizations again. So these are loans and from internal and external sources. I want you, whenever you hear internal, you know that it is within your country, and whenever you hear external, you know that it is outside your country. Number 3, money from government investments. They are from public corporations, firms, and so on that are owned by government. Government investments. Just like individuals, government have their businesses everywhere. They own some corporations. From these corporations, they make their money. They own some industries again and firms. So money that accrue normally in that business constitutes government revenue. Number 4, toll. Most of you we call, or most people call it toll gate. Here we say toll. It is paid for the use of certain roads, bridges, and etc. that is contracted with huge amount of money by government. Unfortunately, most of you students did not meet this toll. You may pass it today and you call it toll gate. People call it toll gate. But because of your age, most of you did not meet it. These toll gates are normally placed, just as we have told you, they are normally placed on highways, express roads, linking one city to another. In Kaduna, before the NYC, before you get there, you see toll gate. If you are leaving Kaduna, then if you are coming into Kaduna, after the NYC, you see toll gate. As you are going to Zaria, you see toll gate. So they are planted in a strategic routes that government has spent big money, or huge amount of money, in constructing. In order to do what? In order to recover money. The essence of this toll gate is that if you are going out, you pay some money at that toll gate before you leave. If you are coming back again, you pay some money at that toll gate before you enter. With that, government recoups a lot of money in order that to recover the large amount of money that they have spent on the toll gate, on building the toll gates. The next one is money from court fees. They are realized from fees and other fines imposed on offenders. These offenders are people that commit offense. That is when we are talking about money from court fees. People that commit offense and you take them to court, court will fine them, you pay so and so amount, or you go to jail so and so. So when they decide to pay that amount, those monies that they pay in court, or if you want to, you go to court to do affidavit of this or that, there is this money that you pay in court. All those things amount to fees. Number 6, rates and rents. These are in form of water and property or housing. Those that are living in government houses or houses that are owned by government, they pay rents and they pay rates. Like you have water board, you pay them rates. All those are owned by government and they are sources where government gets money. Number 7, issuing of licenses, including import license, export license, bicycle, gun, liquor license. It means that before you are giving license to export, you have to pay government some money. If you are giving license to import, you have to pay government some money to obtain that license. For you to have a gun in your house, maybe you want to protect yourself or for security reasons, you have to pay money to acquire the license. Every year you renew your car license, and that is, all these are part of government revenue. Number 8, royalties. Royalties are paid by companies that are granted mineral rights. These companies that are granted mineral rights may be in form of mining companies, which involves even these oil companies, Total, Shell, Chevron, and so on and so forth. Those that are into mining and exploration, they pay what we call royalties. This money they pay to government for operating in those areas is called royalties. The next one is miscellaneous sources. These miscellaneous sources include sales of confiscated goods and properties, and monies recovered from corrupt politicians and civil servants. So these sales of confiscated goods, like those goods that are seized by customs, or those goods or properties of corrupt individuals that the court may say, okay, they confiscate these goods and these goods and they are to be auctioned. So any money you get from the auctioning and or sales of those things is regarded and tagged the government money and paid into government purse. We have concluded the lesson, but I have to do a recap of what we have done today. We have to summarize. We talked about public finance. We define public finance as that part of economic branch of economics that deals with financial activities of the government as it concerns revenue and expenditure and debt operation of the government. We equally talked about fiscal policy. We said that fiscal policy is raising of money through taxation and other means, and the effects to the effects of it to the economy. Then we equally talked about objectives and functions of public finance, or we say functions of public finance. What are the functions? Price stabilization, to stabilize prices of goods and services, equitable distribution of goods and services, satisfaction of needs, and so on. Then in sources of government revenue, we have taxes, we have loans. That is the areas where government get their money: taxes, loans, money from government investment, toll, rates and rents, issuing of licenses, royalties, miscellaneous sources. With this, we have come to the end of the lesson. I will want you to look at these assignments. Number 1, define public finance. Number 2, what is fiscal policy? Number 3, list 5 functions of public finance. Number 4, identify 5 sources of government revenue. I repeat, define public finance, number 1. Number 2, what is fiscal policy? Number 3, list 5 functions of public finance. Number 4, identify 5 sources of government revenue. Thank you very much. My name remains Obi Ifeanyi. My number is 080-350-32831. In case you have any problem or any you want to submit your assignment as most of you have been doing, I want to encourage you as usual. You are very nice students. When next you want to call us, please tell us where you are calling from so that we know the extent and that our program is going from where you are, so that we know where you are and how we have impacted on you. I repeat again, my name is Obi Ifeanyi. My number is 080-350-32831. Stay safe, stay home. COVID-19 is real, and God bless you.